If I had the strength and energy to journal, this is an example of an entry that I would write down so that I can get into the juicy details of it. But I thought, I would rather just film something because I want to have the record of it, see myself, and then days after see myself recovered. I always like to see my progression. So today, I had to be sent home from work early because I got sick with something that I hadn't experienced since 2017 that I can recall. Maybe 2016, but I really think 2017 was the last time. I have spoken about this before, but not in great detail. But I'm one of those people who, when I'm shedding uterine lining, it hits me pretty bad. But at least it's not as bad as years ago. Years ago, I used to experience what I experience today, which is I guess I have low sugar and I don't catch it in time. I start passing out, like my vision turns shadowy and my ears get cold and numb, and I feel like from a distance I hear a ringing too, and I start shivering. And you guys know that I'm usually someone who's never cold, but I start shivering. My face is cold. I'm sweating, but I'm super, super cold. In addition, I have a very sharp cramp pain that's so bad that neither lying down, standing up, sitting down makes it feel better. So I have to play around and try to figure out what position to hold myself to feel better. And it's usually something that it just I have to write it out until it gets better on its own. Well, today, what's sad is that I went to work and I had some fruit for breakfast. I had watermelon because I knew that I shouldn't try to show up on an empty stomach. And this cycle in particular had been weird because it was supposed to have started 4 days ago, but then it disappeared. I just had spots, but then last night I finally saw the flow come back. So I thought, okay, fantastic. Everything is back to normal. But I was also noticing that I was having trouble eating, like eating to the capacity that I'm used to. But then I said, well, to be fair, I haven't worked as much. I haven't worked out as much. I haven't done any real lifting in about a week now. And last week, I had a weird week because I got sick with whatever that was that I showed you guys. And I was terrified because I was already having the symptoms of my days. And then I said, great. So on top of that, I have to be dealing with my days. So I think that what happened is whatever I was fighting last week halted my cycle. And now my cycle is like, okay, we're ready. And it just went down the slide and it bombarded me at this moment. I was preparing for work in the morning, feeling perfectly fine within reason, what I'm used to feeling when I'm experiencing this thing. But then about an hour into work, I started feeling a weird hunger. And I'm like, I better eat and not ignore this because since my condition is not normal, then I better address this before it turns into something. Boy, did it turn into something. Anyway, I started passing out, but I had enough time to punch the code to make it into the office and then plummet into one of the chairs. It took me about 2-3 minutes to recover enough to be able to dial my supervisor, who was in the office next door, but I was so physically weak that I could not roll myself to that door to punch in that code to let him know what I was going through. So I dialed using the phone that happened to be right there within reach. And then I was like, dude, can you step out for 1 second? And then he did, and he was like, whoa. And I'm like, yeah, so I need a minute because I feel like my body's made of butter right now. I am so sorry. So then he's like, oh, whatever, take your time. This, that, and the other. And of course, everything started happening at the same time. And at least everybody was able to hold it down and stuff. But then one of my fellow cashiers walked in and she was like, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm just having like an episode in which I go through what I just described to you guys. And I'm just surprised because this hadn't happened to me in so long that I thought that maybe I would never experience it again. And I just hate it because I become super sluggish. For me, the scariest part is my inability to like regulate my body temperature. Because if I cover myself with something, I feel like I'm getting hot instantly. But if I uncover, I'm shivering. So I was trying to wear a jacket over my chest, but I left my back pretty much exposed. And it felt like a collision of two rivers. One river was cold, one river was warm, and it was just shocking me. That's like the scariest part. And I think that it's also maybe my iron levels might be a little low too because my diet has definitely been trash lately. And on top of that, I feel like when I used to take a supplement, I felt a little stronger, better suited, better fit to deal with this thing. But I just hate that this comes out of nowhere and it always hits me when I'm at work. And I was beginning to think that maybe the stress, physical stress of being at work, even though today's shift wasn't particularly difficult because I was running customer service, I'm still standing. I'm still getting stimulus attacks like the phone ringing, the noise that people make, maintaining awareness of my surroundings. Work is work, no matter how simple it seems. Your mind is engaged differently. So, at least I'm really happy for the support that I got because my fellow cashier was like, I'm gonna get our shift manager. And I said, yeah, please do, because I personally have not had the opportunity to make her aware yet, because I was hoping that maybe I would recover from this relatively quickly. But man, as the minutes were passing, it was getting worse. And the scariest part is not being able to figure out a comfortable position. So when we got the shift manager, she asked me if she needed to call an ambulance, and I said, no, I know I look bad, I feel terrible, but this is definitely not an emergency, like a life-threatening emergency. I would never occupy a medical team with something that I know I have gone through before, and I don't know scientifically with accuracy what's happening, but I can describe the factors that are always in common when I feel this way, which is my days, I haven't eaten well, I couldn't sleep well either, and I'm at work stressing myself. And last month, it was either last month or the month prior, I remember that my days were hitting me pretty bad too. That I said to myself, I am so happy that I happen to be writing this out when I'm off, because I was able to just lie on my back. And I specifically told myself, there is no way I could have worked this 8-hour shift doing this shit. And this is part of the reason why I try to be part time, because I know that it's not very practical for me as a woman to be exposing myself to that level of work, especially to the intensity that I'm used to working. And of course, I should mention that I don't take anything. I don't drug myself. I don't have birth control. I take
nothing. I'm like 100% all natural. My body will process this like it's designed to, because I was born with this cycle happening. Therefore, the cycle should remedy itself, rectify itself. That's why I describe it like that, because I'm not going to start drugging myself, changing my literal chemistry in the name of making this thing disappear. No, let it happen.
It's just something not sustainable. And I just want to be able to take care of myself in a manner that this place just doesn't promote. Overworking and grinding and all that, that's the culture here. That's what's normal. But I said to myself, well, if I gotta take a hit somewhere, I want it to be in my pocket, but at least I won't have to suffer physically so much. And like I said, I did pretty well. It's been like 7 years now since this happened to me, but I hate that it does happen. At the same time, I find relief knowing that this is something that happens in the family. It's not I'm being a problem or I'm doing something wrong. My mom said that her problems with this, she has gone through the same things that I went through. And what fixed it was when she had kids. And I'm like, well, for me, that's not an option. That's never going to happen. So we need to figure out a better way to go about this. And now the only problem I'm having is that I'm starting to feel some nausea. Like I'm having trouble keeping down what I ate, if that makes sense. And I tried to eat and I ate pretty well, but I couldn't finish what I ate. I am not somebody who cannot finish what I eat. So it's also testament to how I haven't been able to exercise like I'm used to work up that appetite. And because it's been over a week since I ate normal, I feel like my stomach capacity is just not the same. Because even a little small nibble of something seems to be owning me. But, anyways, you guys, I thought I would share this and also to serve as a journal entry for myself more than anything. Because, sure, I can handwrite, but I cannot record what I look like, what I sound like, what I feel like. And since this is something that doesn't happen often to me, it feels like a weird treat. And yeah, I just want to share with you guys that even though I'm always demonstrating an invincible face on the channel, I squeal like a pig.